welcome back to Writing a Musical. Little boy wants to say hi. 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 He's been stuck in the bedroom all day because I just finished my lessons and I have some updates on the songs I finished working on this week. So after talking with John, I got some final notes for Now Alejandra, which used to be For a Stranger, and Show Some Restraint, and they are pretty much done. Like, we are moving into the score section of it. So it's time for me to sit down and record an audio of these, to write the score, and to have John read it over because I have no idea what I'm doing because I can't write music. Reference an earlier vlog. And I'm going to be doing those things entirely on Logic Pro, which will be super exciting because it has a notation feature. And more than anything, we are in the little nitpicky stages and I'm so excited. So join me on stream if you're seeing this before stream at 1 p.m. Pacific, and let's work on it together. Find out the tea! On this episode of The Life of a Musical Theater Songwriter, you know those 6 lines that I worked on super hard? That took me like 4 hours? Yeah, I had to cut them because it made the song better. R.I.P. Hi, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. So this is now the new streaming setup. My PC is still there, but I am actually streaming from my Mac so that I can show how I'm recording the demos for my musical using Logic. And also here's the keyboard that arrived yesterday. For today's stream, I ended up working on recording Show Some Restraint, just kind of the demo of it that I'm going to be sending out to start scoring it. Turns out that there were a lot of melodic choices that I haven't quite set into stone yet, and also finalizing just like the chord accompaniment was a thing that I did today, so there's that. To be honest and say, it's quite nice to see it all like this in MIDI, to be able to open it up and see also the score version of it that sits right there. Now, of course, the Logic version of the score isn't going to cut it, hence why I'm having John look at it. But we are much closer than we were, and I think now I'm going to focus on laying down the vocals. On this episode of The Life of a Musical Theater Songwriter, you know that score that I needed to write that I was like, yeah, it's going to be super easy. I'm going to use Logic Pro's Flex Pitch to turn my vocals into MIDI so that I don't have to notate anything because I don't know how to do that yet. Well, it turns out that Flex Pitch on Logic Pro is shit. Yeah. And while today I did indeed record and layer all the vocals I needed, yep, that's right, Show Some Restraint is actually fully written. It only took me 2 months. I am nowhere near done with turning it into a score. Yeah. I am now having to manually lay down the melody along with my accompaniment, which then I'm going to export as MIDI, import into MuseScore, which is an open source notation software, so that I can send this score to John tomorrow. Yeah, I've already spent 6 hours working on the song and I still have a whole other one to score before tomorrow. Hi, and welcome back to Writing the Musical. I am so happy today. Yesterday, if you watched the vlog, it was utter despair, but today there's hope. So the stream just ended. We had a pretty active chat, but more than anything, look! Ah! I wrote that. I scored that. That didn't exist 2 months ago. Obviously, I still need to write out the melody line. I haven't done that yet, but that's where John's gonna step in and fix it for me because I also fully completed the demo. I re-recorded some vocals, I updated some melodies, especially the end, and that beginning section. All the pianos laid down perfect because that's how I was able to score it using MuseScore, because you can export the MIDI and import it into the thing. So John will have the track to reference to hear out the melody and notate it out, and it'll be done! Ah! Hi, I just realized that there's one elephant in the room I haven't addressed. So I'm gonna do it right now. The best chips, don't at me, but I've talked about how Show Some Restraint is now fully fleshed out. It has dialogue. The melody's pretty much set in stone. I have a demo of it. Why haven't I shared it on TikTok yet, or anywhere really? You can't really hear it at all anywhere right now unless you are live with me on stream. Honestly, that is because I feel like demos are a little bit kind of sacred in that it's obviously the composer trying to get it out there, but it isn't sung beautifully like if it were done by a performer. Case in point, the Lin-Manuel Miranda demos. But I do plan to share these, even if it's just my voice. I guess I want to put a little cushion for me so that the expectations aren't so high. Hi, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. Now, Today is Thursday, which means Lessons with John. For those of you who are new, John is my tutor who is actually helping me prepare for the BMI musical theater workshop because, well, your girl needs all the help she can get from an expert. But anyway, let's talk about the notes. So yesterday I sent over the lyric sheet, the score without the melody, and the final audio demo of Show Some Restraint. The deadline for submission is August 1st, so it is crunch time, baby. I sent that to John last night around 7 p.m. And so by this morning's lesson at 11:30, he already had notes. Of course he did. He says it's pretty much done for the most part, which is great news. But every time he tells me, oh, I don't actually have that many notes. But then this. So you guessed it, we are definitely doing a part 2 because we got to break it down. Yeah. Hi, and welcome back to Writing a Musical Part 2. And because today it's Thursday, Lessons with John, the note section. So here are the notes I got for the lesson that we had today. Now, usually the notes are like 2 pages long, so I guess it is progress, but it's still a lot to fix. So let's break it down. First, he gave me notes for the score. I have some measures to make changes to, put some stuff in the bass clef, change some rhythms and all that. Because I used a MIDI export of my Logic file to actually write the score rather than me writing it myself, it's actually kind of difficult to write triplets on MIDI, or maybe it isn't, but I don't know how to do it, so I'm gonna have to manually do it in the score. And then here are all the notes, good and bad, that I got about the actual song itself. There's a section that's dragging that I actually really like, so we've reached a compromise that I need to help change. And of course, some lyric syntax and emphasis on the wrong syllable, but all good. On this episode of The Life of a Musical Theater Songwriter, I am actually not going to work on the musical today. There are exactly 22 days until submission day for the BMI musical workshop. And I actually still have a whole other song to write pretty much from scratch. And also to finalize and just put the final touches on Show Some Restraint and Alejandra. I have worked so hard this week that I am really close to burning out. I've actually burnt out. Not to mention I still have actual work to do. So for today I've decided that I'm just going to take the day off completely. I'm gonna go on a hike, I'm gonna hang out with my dog, I'm gonna hang some curtains, which you can see right there, and just take off. I have been having really bad panic at night, so I really need to just step away, and I'll get back to it tomorrow, so see you then. On this episode of The Life of a Musical Theater Songwriter, it's really important for me, the life of a musical theater songwriter, let's talk about coping. I find that the only way that I can make it over the hurdle is to literally write all my thoughts down, get them out of my brain, then they can no longer poison me. First thing I did is I made notes of everything that I have yet to do for every song that I have to submit. It's a lot to get done in 21 days, but there is something so satisfying about crossing things off, and I think that will help. Not to mention, I've been super stressed about the application and what I need to write, and it's been really overwhelming me. So then I sat down and started sketching what my potential answers are going to be for the application. By doing this, I found that I actually got a lot of control over my emotions and my brain, and that's just amazing. So yes, I definitely did not work on the musical today, but I did get something done, and that helped me cope, so yay. Hi, I just wanted to do a quick update because I'm not going to get into it, but I definitely worked on the musical today. And we got a lot done. So I'll give you more updates tomorrow, but 20 days left and we're getting there. Hi, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. It is currently 8:32 a.m. I've been up for about 2 hours, taking care of the pup, having breakfast, the usual, but I figure now before I get started with working even further into the musical that I catch up and tell you everything that I got done yesterday. Now I know for some of you that might be pedantic, but when I'm having panic or I'm feeling a little bit lost, watching these back really helped me feel connected to my purpose of writing the show, so let's get to it. First, let's get started with Show Some Restraint. I have officially done all the major edits that John suggested the last time we met, but now I have to just re-export the MIDI and focus on score. Since I've finalized the audio recording, he can now notate the rest of the melody, and so now I can input it into the score and it'll be done. I am definitely looking forward to be able to notate by myself, but again, having John's input is invaluable. Anyway, part 2. Hi, and welcome back to Writing a Musical Part 2. So, this is Alejandra, rough
rough demo. I've done actually a lot of recording for it. I finalized some of the lyrics and recorded some of the vocals. We had to do the exporting or the score at all. But I think so far my favorite thing about Alejandra is discovering musical themes that I know that I'm gonna have to, you know, extrapolate and write into full songs. This is the closer of Act 1, and it's the love duet between our two female leads. You know, they were in love. So as I'm building out some tension because they're gonna run away into the night, I am bringing in some themes that I've yet to discover, you know, here. And it's very exciting to have all those colors come together right at the finish line. I think that, and I cannot stress it enough, that my favorite part about songwriting, especially in musical theater, is the discovery of character just from what I want them to say. So yay for writing a musical with complex queer characters. Yay! Hi. Fair warning, today is going to be a very vlog heavy day because I have a lot to do, I have a lot to say, and you know, now that I'm back to my normal self, I need to catch up with vlogging. I just miss it. But anyway, the reason I'm making this little extra video is that I'm thinking of starting a new series and I kind of want to talk about it with you in depth. For some of you who have been here since the beginning know that Show Some Restraint has gone through a couple of drafts. I think 6 minimum to say the least. Now the song is as fully finished as it's gonna get until I bring like a cast and have the show written, etc. But I am interested in showing the progression from draft to draft for each verse and things like that, because I figure like, you know, when someone listens to a song, they just think it comes out complete. And really that's not the case. So in bringing transparency and showing progress, the series is gonna entail me singing the same thing through different versions of the song. Let me know if that's something you want to see. On this episode of The Life of a Musical Theater Songwriter, that is my song. Notated. It's unreal. Is this what Pinocchio felt like? I am a real musical theater songwriter, yeah! Hi, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. I am super sweaty, so sorry in advance, but hey, I'm in SoCal. It's hot. Anyway, I showed you Show Some Restraint this morning, but Alejandra is pretty much done, at least the accompaniment. I need to send the demo to John so he can notate it for me. I could sit down and work on the MIDI aspect of it, but I don't have time. Also, here's the demo for Alejandra. I ended up adding some parts for Alejandra to sing, which weren't in the original demo that I had written. Since I want this to be the closer of Act 1, you know, I want there to be a conversation. I also know that this won't be the final version of the Act 1 closer, but definitely something I can submit to the BMI Musical Workshop as an example of what it would look like. Eventually. It is by no means perfect, and it does have a little bit of crunch, of dissonance, but I wanted to show you what I have right now, so here's a little snippet. Hi, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. So, I do have a lot of updates today. I heard back from John with all that good stuff, so I thought I'd fill you in now. As I talked about yesterday, for Alejandra, I finished everything that I could up to it and sent it to John this morning at like 7, and I was like, hey, I'm ready for notation. But also because we are exactly 19 days away, I just needed to get some final approval, even though it's my song, but some final confirmation from John. And this is what he sent me. Hey Maiga, Alejandra is done. It's freaking beautiful. Great job on the 2 vocal lines intermingling. Now, usually when I do stuff like this, and especially when I was writing pop music, you know, it would be too dissonant, it wouldn't work together, too much crunch. But in musical theater, that kind of thing is rewarded, and all of a sudden it feels like I'm finally finding my voice, not just as a lyricist, but as a musician. So part 2. Hi, and welcome back to Writing a Musical, part 2. So, after getting that feedback from John, I felt really confident, so I just jumped right into writing the 3rd song for the BMI Musical Theater Workshop, the background check. Now, it has been a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, since I've actually sat down and worked on it, but I actually ended up writing 2 verses for it, just straight off the bat. So for Natalie, we have your typical LA actor, who's an extra. For Michelle, we have your typical woke white guy who will actually, yeah. For Alejandra, we have a story that I know very well. I actually wrote Natalie's verse first a couple of weeks ago, and then every single one after that is based off the same thing, so they can all intermingle together in the end. Yeah. I'm hoping that by talking bluntly about these really bad dates that they all share, it will read as comedic enough for the BMI Musical Theater submission. Yeah, but also this is the last song I have yet to write, so I'm gonna just have to get on this episode of The Life of a Musical Theater Songwriter with the amazing, wonderful news that I received yesterday about like the status of my songs. Your girl completely deflated today and yesterday. I woke up like 30 minutes ago. I feel extremely tired. It's like a huge bubble of stress that I had completely popped and left me dead in its wake. I've been pushing myself so hard, and we have now 17 days left. But it somehow seems we're going to get it done, and boy, my body just fucking crashed. So, I apologize for not doing writing a musical update yesterday. That will come later today. But I just want you to know me, the actual songwriter, is fucking exhausted, and I'm probably gonna order some Chipotle, even though it always fucks up my stomach. That's where we are, baby! Hi, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. So here I am, as promised, with what happened yesterday. And as you guys know, Thursdays are Lessons with John. As of yesterday, it means that we have exactly 2 lessons left before submission. So things are starting to get stressful, but John came back with some wonderful notes and actually some great news. Alejandra and Show Some Restraint are officially done. They are ready to be sent in. That means that now I have over 2 weeks to just focus on one song, which is great. He also already wants me to start writing a 4th song, so we are getting ambitious. Obviously, we still have to do the finalization of just like putting things in the score, making sure things line up, making sure the demo sounds just like the score that I'm sending over. But these little nitpicky things are really just the final touches to make sure that my submissions are done. So we have 1 song left and we are out of time, so part 2. Hi, and welcome back to Writing a Musical Part 2. So even though I only have 1 song left, and I do have notes from John about ways that I could make it better, essentially don't undercut your own punchline for a funny song. That's kind of the issue that I'm struggling with right now. I have my actual job to do today, and also as I talked about in an earlier vlog, I am feeling like shit. So I am taking a break today, and I'm hoping to be back in business tomorrow or Sunday. Who knows? I'm not trying to push because I do feel a cold coming on. Love that for me. Summer cold, baby. But here's something that John briefly mentioned that I'm gonna leave you with. I have written 3 songs, pretty much fully done, in about 10 weeks. If we keep going at this rate, which is the plan, it means that I will have a musical fully written by next summer, like ready for actors, which is kind of insane. Like, it'll be written in a year. Holy shit. Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. Now, I know I'm wearing the same shirt as I did on Friday, but, you know, there's a thing called laundry. I did that this weekend. We have officially 14 days left before the BMI submission, and the background check, I think, is just, like, inching closer to be done. Just a little bit. Today has been actually really slow. I've been trying to kind of get back into the groove of lyric writing and just lyric editing, and it is not going well, but I did do some research that ended up being really helpful, so let me show you. So this is my lyric diagram that I've made to kind of help me do things on the beat, and then the different aspects that I want to talk about in each chorus verse, which are all going to be the same melodically, but, you know, have different vibes for each bad date. And I'm running out of part on what I wanted to show you, so part 2. Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. So what I ended up working on the majority of today, which isn't really technically my musical, but a lot of stuff kind of around it, more technique-based stuff, was just researching and learning about the types of rhymes. So of course we have the perfect rhyme and the slant rhyme, which are comprised of 4 rhymes, which are the family rhyme, the additive subtractive rhyme, the assonance rhyme, and the consonance rhyme. And then all of these rhymes can either be masculine or feminine. Now, as I've talked about before, John is really a big fan of the perfect rhyme because it gives the audience the most sense of resolution when setting up a rhyme. But on the flip side, they can also be a little bit cliche, so you really have to dig and find for words that are a little bit more innovative. Doing this, I find that the biggest thing I added to my toolbox, which will really help me with the background check, is doing family rhymes, which are close enough to give that sense of resolution, but also opens up the world so much. So, yay rhymes! Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. So there are now, currently, 13 days left. Not 12, 13. And today, I finished the rough draft of the background check. This one is actually quite long. Each verse is long, and it's a lot. It's very wordy. For those of you who don't come to my streams, you might not actually know that I do a lot of this stuff live. So I ended up recording it all during the stream and then playing it for the chat, who gave me a lot of feedback, which, yes, it's
we need to talk about it.
So the biggest issue with the first draft was that I was undercutting my own punchlines for the jokes of these horrible, horrible bad dates. Well, now it seems I've done the opposite and have written way too much to set up the joke. And I'm starting to realize that maybe these raps, they need to rhyme, because right now they do not rhyme. Am I gonna fix it? I don't really know. I think I'm gonna musically work it out first. On this episode of the life of a musical theater songwriter, forgive how I look. It's the reality of the situation. There's nothing I can do about that. But in working out the feedback from the chat and also having my husband listen to it, I realized the obvious truth that if I want to tell this much from my joke, then I'm gonna have to rhyme it, baby. On this episode of the life of a musical theater songwriter, the stream just ended, and you see those 7 lines? That took me an hour and a half of intensive work to edit. Yay, lyric writing! Hi, and welcome back to Writing a Musical Late Night Edition. Forgive how sweaty I look, but it is currently, yeah. Girl is officially, again, full of panic, and in trying to get rid of it, I decided to work on the score for Show Some Restraint and Alejandra. John had actually sent me the notated lyric parts like last week, but I was really focusing on writing the new song, the background check, so I hadn't had time to just input them. And well, since my brain decided that it was just gonna fuck me up no matter what, I decided to do it right now. I slightly regret it, but also like my brain is dead, so it can't think, therefore no panic, no anxiety, so positive. I just want to say that sometimes that's the realities of creation. I am filled with self-doubt, and I actually don't know if I can do it. And now with 11 days left, it's getting to me. On this episode of The Life of a Musical Theater Songwriter, I did have lessons with John today. It is Thursday, but I burnt out, and I'm going to bed early. And boy, am I paying for yesterday right now. On this episode of The Life of the Musical Theater Songwriter, a lot has happened, but as you can see, I am sunburnt to a crisp. And honestly, I just don't feel comfortable recording updates like that because I look like a tomato, and I know these are going to be for posterity, but I'm getting over it, maybe. So that means that tomorrow I will make a full list of updates because a lot has happened in the last couple of days. I haven't even told you what notes I got from John, so there's a lot to update on. It's going to be a lot of videos, so brace yourselves.